Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I'd like to share with you today a card I did. It's a case off of a card in our mini catalog, our September to December mini catalog, and it was using some non-traditional colors but also not Christmas, and so I kind of want to share what that all looks like. I'll go ahead and flip my camera. So again, it's from the September to December mini catalog, and it's using very popular suite of products. In fact, so popular that some of them aren't available right now. The Traditions of Christmas. There's going to be an online class this coming Thursday, I believe it is, that you may participate in. It is a $30 fee, and you can buy that from my website, justalittleinc.stampinup.net. That's if you don't already have a demonstrator. But this is another idea that you might find helpful for that, and I did it as a swap. And so I had challenged my team to do some things with colors from our color coach, and this is using those. So this is Pretty in Pink, Secret C, and Granny Apple Green, which are totally colors I wouldn't have thought to put together, and I decided to make it into a birthday card and not Christmas. And so it's cased from the card on page 24 of our mini catalog. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put that away, and kind of share with you that you've got some different options. And so this is that beautiful paper. It's a specialty paper, has lots of gold accents. You can kind of see them when I move them in the light. And I did, just to share with you an idea, you could choose to use the paper and not stamp. But I'm going to stamp, and so we're going to kind of share with you how this works. So grab all my parts and pieces. So you've got a piece of basic white thick cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Super, super simple. I'm going to fold it over, grab my bone folder. Let's go this here. We'll go ahead and give you my photo here. Then I'm going to run a 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of basic white through the coordinating folder. So this is the traditional wreath 3D embossing folder, and when you do, you're going to put it in, kind of center it so that that wreath opening, the hardest thing to see in lighting, is right here, and I want to make sure that everything is kind of centered. And so I would run it through, always with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. The fold goes in first. So you roll it through the magic of television. I have already done one. And so it comes out like this. Isn't that just the neatest thing? There we go. Kind of get my angle here. Maybe my camera needs to tip down or something. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to lay it on the front of my card base. I'm going to go ahead and just adhere it with some multi-purpose liquid glue. So come in no more than around 1/4 inch from the edge. You could go a little closer, but it will spread out. And you really don't need a ton. You just need a perimeter. But glue is really your easiest and best method for something that's textured as much as a 3D embossing folder cardstock would be. So I'm going to lay it on the front of my card, right to that fold, and I'll have a little teeny wiggle room as I'm scooting things around, sliding them down, okay? So then I have my card base. So then I want to put that beautiful flower in the center. And if you didn't know it, this stamp set is a 2-step stamp set. And so it's Christmas Greenery is this part of the suite we're going to use. And I'm going to stamp it. It's a photopolymer stamp set. Pull this stuff over here. It's a photopolymer stamp set, and I have an extra piece cut. It's about 2.5 inches, and it's really more of a scrap. And so let me grab my block here. I need a little bit bigger block. I think this is the E. Yes, this is the E block. And you could choose to use C.A.S.E ink, because you could either use C.A.S.E or you could use Tuxedo Black. Either one is going to work. Make sure I get it all inked up. And the biggest thing is that I'm just in the center, because this will get die cut. Okay. So, like so. Isn't that beautiful? Then we'll clean that after a while, because you always want to clean your stamps. So I'm going to go ahead and start. There's a little stamp that's the bow. So I will grab my block, ink it up with that C.A.S.E, and then it's a matter of getting it lined up. And because these are photopolymer stamps, they really do line up really pretty well, like so. And I'm going to go ahead and flip over, because I had pre-cut. So, and what I find is almost easier to have something dark underneath it, so that I have easier time seeing what I'm stamping. I don't know if you find that to be the case, but I find that to be the case. So, like so. Okay. Then, that's the only thing with C.A.S.E I need. We'll clean that after a while as well. So then the flowers are in pretty in pink. And so, I'm going to find my flower image. And again, I may need to clean earlier, because I need my block. Grab my chamois here. Okay, so ink up. Whoops. Never do that, right? Oh, clean that off, because we don't want that. We wanted the flower. So, comedy of errors. So I'm going to ink up, and that's what's going to go inside. And so I don't even have to really color real well, because I'm going to fill in all these stamps with the stamp. So I don't have to color in. You could, but I don't really need to. Then, let's see, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this away, because then I'm going to use Granny Apple. Show you how fast this really does go. Get this up a little closer here. Also think my camera could come down just a little more. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to get, this is the pine, and I'm going to put it at full strength. So I'm not going to soften it at all. So the pine is going to be Granny Apple. And there's one more down here. Okay, we'll clean that up. And then the other leaves, I will want to stamp off. That's what we refer to stamp off. And that's a way for me to get 2 shades from the same color. So I'm going to stamp off once, and I'm going to line it up. Woo! And I'm going to end up with a lighter color of the same Granny Apple. And so it looks like I have a second stamp, but I didn't. It's the same color. So now I can start assembling. So that's from these portions. So this piece will get put up. So I'm going to end up putting it on in dimensionals onto my card base. Let's see if I have some minis here. Not really. So let me grab my scissors, because you want to use every little piece of dimensional you've got. So I'm going to come and snip off just some little pieces from the edge. Let's see how well we do here. So all I need is a little bit of lift. So there's that one. That one over here. Oh, maybe. There we go. One there. Got one more piece that's floating around, and then the rest of them should stick. So got one here. Kind of come like this. I don't need a lot of lift. I just want a little. And so I'm going to go ahead and center that on my white card base. Now, I want to share an idea that if you wanted, you could do. And so I told you, the paper has been on back order, so right now you're not going to get it. But when it's available, another option you have is to die cut from one of the paper pieces. So there's a whole page, this is the back side, that's those flowers in different arrangements of colors. You could pop it up onto, and make a super simple card. You could pop it up onto here, layer, and see how pretty that would be. So I think there's some other options as well. So I've got this here. I'm going to go ahead and attach, get out my seal, and layer it onto my secret C. So here, like so. Okay. Then I want to, where did I throw things? Right here. So I've got a piece that's 1 inch by, I just cut it, 3 1/4, I believe. Yes, 3 1/4. That piece is going to go behind, and I know I'm going to stick it around here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach that. Just put a little bit of adhesive there. Okay. Line up where it's just above the bow. Okay. Want a little equal hanging off of both sides, as much as I can adjust it to be on both sides. Okay. We don't need this piece. Okay, so that's going to look really neat, and that's going to go down flat, so I can go ahead and attach, line it up, and center onto my card base. And this is just a gorgeous card. Super really simple. So I'm going to press, get that nice and adjusted, and then I have a 1/2 inch, or is this 3/4 of an inch? This is 3/4, no, 5/8. Oh, in the middle, right in the middle. 5/8 inch by 3 1/2 of our Secret C cardstock. And I'm going to take our Additions embossing kit, which comes with our Stampin' Buddy, our embossing buddy, and I'm just going to tap onto that dark cardstock. Okay, then I'll get all these out of the way. There's where my tweezers are. I'm using the Happy Birthday that came from the Not 29 Anymore, which is an online exclusives stamp set. Some really fun greetings, but it's got a similar width and size to the Christmas set that was used in the sample that we are copying. So I'm going to line this up. I'm going to grab out my Pierce mat. It's one that I have cut down so that it's smaller and more manageable. So I'm going to ink up with my Versamark ink. Get that centered into that card stock and push it off. Okay. You always want to close your ink pad when you're sprinkling embossing powder. Okay, I'm using the Basics Wow embossing powder, and let me grab my tweezers here. And I'm going to sprinkle it on top. Okay, tap it. Okay. And you'll see that I still need to heat it. So I've already done one, so I'm just going to actually sit this in here. And close that up so I don't spill it everywhere. We'll just get that out of the way. Okay, because again, by the magic television, I already did one. So it looks like this when it gets done because I used the white. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to flag the ends. I'm going to come in at midway, snip, and I'm going to then come from the corner down to that, and from the corner down to that. That gives me a flag on both one end, and I'll repeat that on the other side. So I'm going to snip in the center, and then again come from the corner down to that snip, and from this corner down to that snip. And when I do that, I end up with a cute little tag or a cute little banner. And so this then gets on top. And so all I did was I came and put some adhesive in the center, like so. And I want a dimensional on both sides. And so for that one, I'm just going to use full-size dimensional. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to come here. If I had minis handy, I'd use those. So, like so. That way, it isn't popped up in the center any more than it already is. But this allows me to hang over the center of that background color. And in doing so, it holds it nice and tight. Isn't that pretty cool? So thanks again for joining me. If you have any questions or would like to purchase any of these products, you can do that through my online store, justalittleink.stampinup.net. And I'd love to see what you create with this idea. And please like, share, and comment. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd so appreciate it if you did. Thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy stamping.